Alright, welcome back to Golden League 2, round 3, and we've got VortiX in the blue trunks. The top side has Malians. On the lower side of the map we've got Wam. Definitely not Wam. There's Holy Roman Empire in the red trunks. We're here on Dry Arabia in their opening match. So this one will be the best of 3 series in the winners bracket, if I'm correct. I'll just double check that quickly. Yeah, so this will be the last of the best of 3 series in the winners bracket. The winner going through to face Marine Lord. So Wham going for early spears here. Really looking to punish VortiX for playing Malians in such an open map here. And Dry Arabia is not the biggest of maps either, so it shouldn't be too hard to try and limit the amount of control of these gold mines that the Malians player has while going for an early boomy build. And VortiX going up to 6 houses rather than 4, so he's already, you know, while he's getting that little bit more gold trickle than he would with 4, already seeing himself back another 50 wood compared to the other sort of standard Malians opening. I've seen Recon in particular rely an awful lot on 4 house at the first pit mine openings for Mali. Most other players seem to go with 6 though, and it seems to leave them a little bit more exposed, so let's see if it pays off for VortiX here. Or Wham actually running around essentially the wrong side of the town centre. And he will lose the Spearman. There's a quick garrison there by VortiX, picking that off, otherwise the town centre's only going to do like 8 damage at a time. But Wham now going to attack the other side. Obviously he's only gone single scout himself, I believe, so he'll just be using that to actually check the map itself. He's opting to go for the house rather than the pit mine first here. But truth be told, I think if Wham had have actually hit the correct side blindly to begin with, he would be able to go for the pit mine over the houses, because 1500 health on the pit mine for 150 wood versus 150 wood worth of Malian houses is quite a fair bit more than that, because it's, what's that, 6 houses worth? So 3000 health worth of houses to destroy to get the same value as going after the pit mine itself. But it may be easier just to do this, get it to the burning stage, move on to the next house, and do that for a couple of them and then pull out without having to worry risking any spearmen, because this Saharan trade network will be up soon. And yeah, Wham's already lost a spearman and lost a bit of time that he otherwise could have had taking all this down. Smart of Wham just to move on with all the spears except for one. Should be able to burn this one down. VortiX can attempt to repair it, but going to be denied the opportunity to do so, eating up just a little bit more walk time as well. So VortiX able to go for his lumber camp and going for his stables, just because the warrior scouts are so cost effective as a raiding unit, even in the face of these spears. So rather than trying to take direct fights, it just gives VortiX the opportunity to try and punish Wham going for any sort of greedy opening behind this, and it looks like he's going to. He wants to get stone already and putting the Archon Chapel over here. So it looks as though he's probably going to put the town centre over here, or maybe even have it over here. Or you could possibly even chuck it right here for the quicker gathering, and it secures, you know, the gold and the stone. It protects his starting gold mine even that little bit better. So VortiX going Warrior Scouts is taking the upgrade for them. So they got a nice damage boost over regular Scouts. No more other combat stats, but it just makes them really nice at both denying enemy scouting and being a great raiding unit. Cheaper than Horsemen by a little bit. So VortiX is going to try and pit mine over here by the looks of things. Even though he could pit mine up here, it just means that he could catch Wam out because he's probably more likely to expect it going on either this pit mine, this mine, or this mine. Even though it's a little bit more dangerous. Is that what he's going to do? Oh no, he's going for a market. I thought he was streaming this villager over here to pit mine. Oh, that way he's got a, you know, a reasonably safe but still long market line. Triple market. So we're seeing a similar style of Mali to what I've seen Recon play. Any sort of differences early on, Recon would typically only go for 4 rather than 6 houses on the pit mine. Just to, you know, because in worst case scenario, if Wam had gone straight for it, realistically you can snipe the pit mine if the player goes up to 6 houses. I've seen it happen with Wam01 versus, was it B or Garnath? I'll just double check that. Yeah, B managed to punish Wam01 going for the same build that VortiX went, but he managed to actually focus the pit mine down straight away and ultimately snipe that to deal, you know, 140 wood damage basically straight off the bat. The trader instantly generating toll gold, so that's perfect for VortiX basically. So even though it's not the longest of market lines, it's more or less perfect use of the trade network. Like, watch this. This is pick up, and 4 seconds later, it generates, you know, 12 resources instantly. The VortiX is going to set up to actually get some more tolling out of that. It's also starting to produce some of his ranged, getting some archers there. Making Sofa, not just warrior scouts, but the beauty of the warrior scouts is it meant they could really batter the hell out of Wam Scout in the meantime. But Wam, you know, playing around 2TC here, a bit more macro oriented himself, wanting to really be able to keep up with VortiX's triple market boom. And he also can now afford to play around, you know, 4 or 5 production facilities fairly quickly as well. So VortiX got a bit of a unit count advantage, but I think he's actually going to have to play a bit of catch up in terms of production here. He's really only got the 2 production facilities to Wam's 4. Bearing in mind he does have the toll outposts. Maybe Wam will realise that that's where the market is. And yeah, Wam's production going to outpace his opponents until VortiX can catch up on those military structures. For now, VortiX just wanting to pump, well, double caravan production, not so much triple. It's less efficient to, you know, make it out of this third one. VortiX. I'm going to try and repel Wam, but at the same time, Wam at least denying that last tolling outpost from going up there. Not really able to pick off any of the traders just yet. blacksmith already for Wam. Hasn't started any upgrades out of it just yet. Hasn't got any eco upgrades either, while VortiX does have his first wood tech. Is it double bit axe? It's the first one. Or is it handsaw? Can't remember now. It's different across the different games. But he's got wheelbarrow over Wam. Wam looking to go for iron undermesh, which is going to be very useful with both archers and towers here. It's also looking to get a bit of scouting info and possibly chip away at one of these traders. At the very least, force VortiX have to do something about this eventually. The spear coming to help out as well. We're not really able to engage on this left side of VortiX's market line. One of the caravans gets picked off there. Spearman not going to be able to get that villager. Might not be able to get out of range of the trade network there. But realistically, if Wam was anyone other than Holy Roman Empire at the moment, with equal villager counts and your opponent having a caravan eco, it actually means you're at a bit of a deficit, really. Particularly against either Malians or Mongols, because of the bonuses that they'll get with Malians having the tolling and with Mongols having a bonus resources depending on how many caravans they've got. Sorry, traders. So Wam, a little bit of damage there, but he's having a retreat for now. And meanwhile, he's going to go for his boar. He may lose the villager taking this because a couple of these guys not in melee range, and they are going to hit a lot harder. Yeah, 4 times as much damage there. Actually, is there... Ah, okay, it's not quite 4 times because 0.08 seconds attack speed difference. Wam able to kill a couple of caravans here. That means his army does take a little bit of a beating. Meanwhile, he is forcing VortiX have to defend with spears over on that other side. Is it the archers or is it the infantry that get that poison? Ah, it's the archers that get poison. Another cool little unique aspect of the Malian tech tree. So Wam trying to find an opening, but VortiX looking pretty safe on that right side. On this left side though, there's a lot of horsemen here. They're going to try and focus down the market. They are probably going to be able to get it here. So VortiX snipes the market over on the right side. I mean, sorry, Wam snipes the market, but over on the right side, VortiX is repelling this mostly infantry army here. The 1 man at arms in the mix is going to be able to tank pretty well for the rest of the infantry there. So Wam trying to get his hit and runs off here. A little bit of damage, and destroying that market will be pretty useful because it really ruins the traders for the moment. Okay, so the market's been finished, so there we go. VortiX sorting everyone out there. Wam with a slight military military population lead. Slightly down on worker count. And again, I think because it's traders versus villagers, where anyone other than HRE, it would mean Wam was behind economically. But I mean, because he's HRE and because it's not necessarily the longest market line, it's pretty even economically here with Wam having a slight military advantage. Looks like he'll get a couple of villages here too. Not quite able to get that villager. It's only just outside of the tolling outpost range there too. There is some archers there to defend. VortiX having a little bit more walling up. I mean, in this matchup you'd think that the HRE player could just sneak in some man-at-arms, but I suppose what really prevents them from doing such a thing is the fact that there is access to the Musafati warriors for the Malians player, so as long as they've already got barracks, it's not necessarily as easy just to tech switch into the man-at-arms, even though it is probably one of my favourite things to do personally. So our players taking their age ups. Farimba Garrison already started, but a few less villagers on it than are on the Regnitz Cathedral of Wam's, but it also means Wam eco slowing down a little bit more than his opponents. But I think VortiX is actually going to age up slightly slower than Wam overall. And he does have some bugged traders here. Well, actually, since he lost the that other market, what's happened here is when he lost that first market, these ones re-rallied just back onto themselves. So he's now actually got to fix that up so they also rally from there onto the other market. Not just the caravans that were alive, these are all the fresh caravans. A nice little run by there by Wam. But yeah, this would be generating VortiX like nothing. All those. So you should be looking to fix those up. To be eating up his eco there. Because even though he's up by 5 eco pop, 11 of his eco is locked up doing nothing. Not generating any of this extra tolling resource. It's not generating the main resource there. So a bit of an oversight here by VortiX. Since he's lost that original market that Wam sniped. So it's ended up paying off a lot better than it otherwise would have. Otherwise I think, yeah, VortiX would be really outpacing him economically here. Now VortiX is fixing it up. There, you can tell because his rally point was actually set, is now actually set to the far market and back rather than just being set straight here. A slight mistake there for him, but he's already still slightly ahead economically as well because he's just been defending so well so far. Adding a lot more production. Tons of stables. Trying to wall off this market line as well, which would be a really good idea. While Wam, a bit more liberal in his walling off. Basically just saying, I want this whole side of the map here. Wants to be able to get on that gold mine. Because bearing in mind, because he has no trader eco, Wam is, you know, stripping the resources off the map a little bit quicker than his opponent here. He's got 90 villages. VortiX has got, well, 60 or so. And 30 traders, so this is nice for Wam because he's picked sort of the right moment here, but unfortunately with the palisade gate there, he probably needed to leave some cavalry here, here, here and here. It's sort of the hard part, is to get that perfect split off of him. So that your opponent can't just sort of rally through the walls and you know, end up finishing off the wall off. Low villagers there that are going to end up making it out too. So that's a bit lucky for VortiX. While he is preparing to take a bit more of a head-on fight into his opponent. A lot of Sofa and Donso and Archer there, all with their veteran upgrades too. Wham does have a prelate in the background, but it looks like he's just trying to get the relic home rather than try and go for a conversion. Wham, slightly bigger army here, but I think slightly more of it's actually sitting out of the fight too. And now with these horsemen joining in at the back of the fight, VortiX is going to have to try and kite with these guys really well, pulls them to the back. Does have some Donso in the mix, but there's already a mangonel here. Drive everything back. And some villagers right next to it just in case it needs repairing. Springwood outpost going up and going to be fortified as well. Wham, bringing a lot of villagers across. He's go for a market and also gather some more wood. Trying to go for the sacred site, but going to be prevented from doing so. But meanwhile, Wham has held off against VortiX now. A bit of a military lead, slight eco-pop lead, but I think it's not necessarily an advantage as such when you're talking traders, particularly from Malians or Mongols. In saying that, HRE villagers actually have extra carry capacity and, when empowered, have extra gather speed too. If you can take advantage, if you can remember to take advantage of that. Because realistically, I mean, if Wham's got the gold, he could sneak one in and empower, you know, 10 villagers, put another one over here, empower another 10. Could really be worth it. Like, he's doing it over this side, for instance. And yeah, Wham's done a great job of acquiring all but one of the relics. The knight gonna survive out of all that. Keep going down the front side of the base for Wham as well. Trying to grab a second sacred. Well, really didn't manage to nab that first one. Nice little raid for him though. He's going to clean up a lot of those low villagers from earlier. Ooh, getting another one there. With VortiX having a retreat. And send something to clean that up. Adding to his walls now, finishing off his wall off pretty much, except for this segment over here. The scout of VortiX is being finished off there. These knights are gonna have to get out of here though, because VortiX has the appropriate counter in those Donso, the Malian spearmen. Mangonel's here for Wham. He's not going to want to retreat too much though, because if they've got to pack up and run, it reduces the amount of damage he's able to get off here. He's got some hefty area damage. And the one Springle, not really all that useful until there's actually siege from VortiX here, and there's not yet. In fact, Wham probably would have been best off having another mangonel or two here at this point instead of the Springles. So it looks like his opponent VortiX not worrying at all about making siege and just relying on having this much larger bowman ball here. Still got 38 of those alive compared to Wam's, what was it, 21? So VortiX denying that free gold trickle. In fact, you could even send a couple of Donso here and deny that other sacred side as well. Now VortiX trying to take down that town center, but also having to take a fight against Wam's ranged here. Nice maneuver there to avoid the Mangonel blast. We'll manage to take out another archer there. Fighting out of the town center like that, VortiX probably had one of the worst comps in the game to do so. Archers, and well, any foot infantry, that's a bit redundant, any foot unit or any infantry from Age 2 are about the worst things to have sitting under a town center. Archers doubly so, because I believe they got less building damage than, say, a spearman or a Musafati or a man-at-arms. So VortiX having to back it up a bit here when things were looking so well for him earlier. Wam seems to be pushing out. He's got more mangonels. Does have the one springle, but seems to be mainly focusing on mangonels now, which is going to force VortiX into having to get mangonels and springles. So Wam trying to put a keep up on each of these sacred sites now. This caravan eco is starting to become a little bit inefficient for VortiX, just considering how much delay there is being incurred here with the traders bumping into one another. And on top of that, it is a shorter market line, so, you know, there's less value in the tolling. There's ultimately only 3 tolling towers instead of a potential max of, is it 5? Now, Wam having to go for a bit of an oh shit keep over here. Same time, Warloff is delaying VortiX long enough that he's not really confident in diving in. And he's also having to deal with some raiding going on his food eco here over to the right. Let me get behind the walls. And there might be a slight gap here. There is a gap in the wall. So this is going to force VortiX to have to retreat, to re-wall this off, to send some units to come and defend it. Well, we've got H4, the Elsbach Palace, H4 for Wam, and it's also going to act as a keep. So he's using that to camp this large gold mine, small gold mine, and stone. And it also means he's going to lock off, you know, this sacred site, that last relic. So it's giving Wam that sort of L-shaped map control where he's backing his opponent into the corner. And VortiX definitely not abysmally far behind by any means. He's got a worker count lead. He's pretty even in terms of the military. He's maxed out. Just needs to look at getting the food for Age 4 here. And he's actually got plenty of gold in the bank. You know, one of the perks of a caravan eco is you seemingly never have a problem with the gold. It's the other resources you got to end up buying them a fair bit. So VortiX trying to chase the army rather than dick around killing structures. So Wam's not quite maxed out yet. Hasn't really got any of his Age 4 technologies yet. So he's sort of waiting on them to kick in. Just seeing what damage he can do from afar with the mangonels. VortiX try and commit a little bit further. I think he might be a bit tentative now, considering how this last fight around this town center went for him, where he seemed to be ahead and then slipped behind. Villagers being garrisoned there. And VortiX now really diving the army of Wam. In fact, he's got a slight military lead here. What's he going to do there? Got a keep down by the look of it. A Fort of the Huntress. So, still got VortiX committing with these archers. So bringing in some more Sofa as well. Well, Fort of the Huntress is a keep landmark as well for our Malian player. It also gives Musafati warriors and gunners first strike, which means if they're in stealth, breaking it will give them a nice bonus. The VortiX putting some good pressure on here. It's pretty even in terms of the populations at the moment. So to try and take down this tower here. Town center with its emergency repairs looks like it'll be able to make it through this. VortiX really committing to this attack now. Waiting for some of his H4 upgrades to kick in. Wam continuing to get more H4 upgrades and stuff. Wam's still struggling to actually remove VortiX's forces from his base here. Harden was there for VortiX, and some new holes in the wall beginning to appear here. I do have to wonder if he's best off trying to make this market line slightly longer and just kill off some villages and sort of just leverage having more efficient caravans to actually allow for him to have a bigger army here. So right now, while he is pushing Wam back, Wam's actually got a bigger military count at the moment. And he's almost maxed out, isn't quite, whereas VortiX is full up for population, can't continue to actually add any more troops until, you know, he loses some. And that Springald Tower proving to be a real pain for VortiX's Springalds, because especially with that relic garrison in it, that's got a huge range, and the Culverin actually able to trade really well against the Springalds as well. 12 range versus 12 range, so it's pretty even there. Springald just worth slightly less and slightly squishier, slightly lower damage. Oh, we've had another little run by here by Wam. He's managed to sneak through. VortiX needed to try and re-wall off again, but he's managed to clean this up pretty quickly. He hasn't lost too many caravans. Still pretty much maxed out. But with Wam's map control, I don't think he's got to worry about running out of resources and transitioning to a caravan eco for a little while yet. Probably got another 5 to 10 minutes before having to worry about that. So he's still got this gold up here. He's even got a little bit of gold back at home. This forward keep from VortiX starting to split his opponent's base up a little bit. VortiX trying to wall himself in now. He's got plenty of villages to do so. VortiX trying to creep forward with his bombards. These are actually outranged by Culverins and by Springalds still, but they offer much better damage than either of them do against buildings. He's eager to try and bring down this keep, but it's It's pretty stubborn with this emergency repairs kicking off. Some culverins here. Going for the snipe on one of the bombards. And Wam's actually going to try and snipe the other bombard here too. And he'll get it. So that's rough for VortiX because I believe the bombards, 900 resources. Pretty expensive. Culverin's even more expensive at 1,000, but both siege units very late game, very expensive. Culverins actually don't do all that much to buildings. Wam, a bombard of his own, but he's going to have to be careful because there are springles here. Bearing in mind, I think it takes 3 hits for a springle to kill a culverin, and it takes 1 for a culverin to kill a springle? Yeah, so it's a pretty uphill battle for those springles. VortiX trying to go for a raid here, interrupt the economy of Wam as best he can. Looks like Wam will be able to take out that keep of VortiX's pretty quickly. I mean, pretty soon. It wasn't quick at all, it was a single bombard chipping away at it. Wam continuing to get his university upgrades now, and I don't know if VortiX has actually gone down that path just yet. Oh no, he has got a madrasa somewhere. Just not sure where the hell it is. Actually, I played that little Mali, I wouldn't even recognize the building. Yeah, here. So VortiX actually has a lot of his university techs, all the ones that he'd be able to make use of at the moment anyway, I believe. Other than siege health and building health, but they're probably a bit less consequential than, you know, cavalry health, unit damage. Wam waiting on cavalry health to kick in here. VortiX having a retreat now, having lost a lot of his front line there. Wam now getting chemistry as he's switched to the hand cannoneers now. These guys are a little bit stronger than the archers. And VortiX is struggling to stay at max population, and having taken these fights down 30 army pop to begin with because he was up about 30 worker pop. It's been rough for him, and now Wam is just surging forward with everything he's got. VortiX just trying to get a little bit more map control, a little bit more gold. So have to try and get a whole lot of Musafati gunners out here. Fort of the Huntress under a bit of threat, but it should be able to take out that battering ram by itself. VortiX trying to go for a defensive keep. Stay as safe as he can, protect this market line as best he can, because he knows if this army of horsemen and what are they called? Hand cannoneers get on top of the traders, it'll be all over for him. Wam really struggling to stay close to maxed out here, while VortiX is actually starting to trail pretty significantly on population. Mainly in terms of his army, his eco's still pretty solid, but he's going to have to hold on tight here because Wam's creeping forward with all these keeps and all of his siege, and Wam manages to take the opening game after a 39-minute back and forth. GG, guys.